Ever feel like you're drowning in a sea of marketing tools trying to keep your business running smoothly? What if you could simplify it all with one platform? That's where Go High Level comes in, your all-in-one sales and marketing solution built for small businesses like you. In fact, Go High Level has over 1 million users just like you. With Go High Level, you can capture leads, automate your prospect and client journeys, quickly and efficiently build stunning websites, sales pages, and sales funnels. Imagine managing your CRM, email, SMS, and funnels without duct taping a dozen tools together. Plus, their unlimited plan lets you add as many contacts and users as you need, no hidden fees. We've been using Go High Level for over a year now and absolutely love it. In fact, Profit First Nation is also powered by Go High Level. Ready to level up? Start your Profit First Nation extended 30-day free trial today at www.gohighlevel.com/Profit First Nation. That's www.gohighlevel.com/Profit First Nation. Streamline your workflow, impress your clients, and grow smarter, not harder.
Welcome to Profit First Nation, the official podcast for entrepreneurs who are operating their businesses in the zone of permanent profitability. I'm Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First, and now here's your Profit First Nation guide, Danielle Mulvey.
Hello, my entrepreneurial friends, and welcome back to another episode. Today, we're going to talk about how new businesses and old businesses can leap to permanent profitability. Well, the obvious answer is implementing Profit First. And oftentimes, old businesses that maybe tried implementing Profit First kind of fell off the Profit First bandwagon. And then new businesses, when they go to start, think, well, I'm not profitable when I start, so I'm not ready for Profit First. Every business needs Profit First in their business. And the easiest way to implement Profit First and start building that habit is just by allocating 1% to your profit account every time you get paid. It doesn't take much to implement Profit First, and we have lots of resources and episodes on that. But Profit First isn't a complicated spreadsheet system. It's a behavioral pattern. It helps you filter out your decision making. And the decision making comes down to, do I save or do I spend? And when you have Profit First allocating into your different buckets, whether it be profit, owner's pay, tax, or operating expenses, those are your 4 primary allocation accounts in Profit First. But you can expand upon those and do subcategories. We allocate to payroll. We allocate a portion of operating expense to general liability insurance. Anything that is a significant spend for us that we need to categorize, we just open up a new account. When in doubt, open a new account and start allocating to that account. But that percentage that it comes from is from the operating expenses. Now, if you are a new business, the beauty is that you can start operating your business at the target allocation percentages out of the gate because your business knows no different. If your business has been around a while and your business isn't wildly profitable and isn't at those target allocation percentages already, well, then you've got to slow your roll and you've got to do an instant assessment to see where you are. And then you know where you want to go. So if you do your instant assessment and your target allocation percentage for profit is 5%, but your instant assessment shows you at losing money and your profit is actually a negative percentage, That's okay. It's not uncommon. Let's stop the bleeding now and let's fix things now. What you can do is you can offset that now by, what do you need to do, guys? If you're running a negative in profit, then you need to decrease expenses right away. So if you're negative 2% in profit, then your expenses need to be reduced by at least 2%. But ideally 3%, because now we've got 1% going to profit. We've reduced expenses by 3%. That gives us the ability to wipe out that negative 2% that we were in profitability and add 1% of profit. Does that make sense? Of course it does. It's simple math we're talking here when it comes to profit first. And then over time, we're going to move that profit quarter over quarter. And to be honest, it takes 6 to 8 quarters to move from your current allocation percentages to those target allocation percentages. And that's okay. It's incremental 1, 2, 3% adjustments to profit, owner's pay, tax, and operating expense quarter over quarter until you get to those target allocation percentages. So out of the gate, we just focused on fixing profit. We were negative 2% in profit. We decreased operating expenses by 3%. And now we've got 1% going to profit in the quarter going forward. Real simple. Maybe we don't touch tax and operating expense at that time, because you can't just take a big haircut to any category overnight. And if you've been running your business off of, let's just say 80% operating expenses, and we need to cut it by 3% and get it to 77%, that's pretty doable. But we're not cutting it 10%. We're not doing an arbitrary number. We're doing what's realistic, what's easy, what's not going to upset the apple cart too much. All right. So let's get that 1% to profit happening now. Let's right the ship if we're negative, and let's just do those incremental increases quarter over quarter. Now, one thing I love to see with businesses is, if you could start your curtain business tomorrow over, knowing what you know now, where would you begin? What's interesting of that is I hear a lot of people say that they would do everything differently. Not just the money aspect, not just implementing profit first sooner, but they would increase the efficiencies, the decisions they make, the daily life. And you know what? You don't have to have a new business to start from scratch. If you have a business right now, you can start improving efficiencies. You can start changing the decisions that you're making. You can change your behavior and your habits, because that's where we grow, is when we change. If you've just been stuck and nothing seems to be moving the needle, and we're just kind of barely surviving and nothing's getting better, and you had these visions that you'd be a $10 million company, but you're stuck at $1 million, well, that's okay. You're stuck because you're not doing anything different. You're not changing anything. You're not improving anything. You're not eliminating things that aren't working for you. You're just doing the same old, same old. So, my entrepreneurial friend, you have to push yourself outside your comfort zone. You have to decide to take the bull by the horns. You have to decide that you want to grow and you want to do different. And so I challenge you to make those differences. Go out there and set a timeline. Say, I need to do this by the end of next week. I need to do this by tomorrow. It can happen now and it can happen fast, but you have to be the one to decide to make it happen. I know Hannah Cox was on a recent episode. So if you do need some accountability there with that, Hannah is an amazing accountability partner who will really help you keep those 3 priorities, whatever they are each week, priorities, and getting action done on them and making things happen and producing results. Because too often we get stuck working in the business. We get stuck trying to put out the fires. We just kind of feel important, and it's easy. This is the easy stuff. We can put out fires with our eyes closed. We can answer employee questions. We can sell to customers. We can do all that stuff because it's easy. We tend to like those dopamine hits of easy. I can do this. I'm doing something. I'm being valuable to my business, but I beg to differ. You're not being very valuable to your business when you're working in your business instead of working on your business. Increasing efficiencies in your business is working on your business. Answering the phone, answering customer emails in terms of efficiency is working in the business. So let's flip the script. Let's work on the business. Let's do things differently so that we can move that needle and so we can scale and we can grow and we can increase our profitability. I recently ran a business sort of mini retreat. We did it over a series of 5 Saturdays, and we met for a bit each Saturday. It was perfect because the businesses weren't running, so there weren't any fires to put out. It was quiet time to focus and think. And we had a challenge each week, and it was exciting to hear people take the challenge for the week and then come back and share their success and their results. And really, a lot of it was getting rid of old thoughts and moving that needle hard. With one exercise we did, I think of Katie, my Canadian goat farmer friend, who just dove in and was so excited about things. And it's really figuring out what can you do with what you have and having this abundance mindset that what you have in your business is enough to do it with. And that's the premise of Profit First. If you only have $10,000 in your operating expense account, then that's what you have to spend on operating expenses. It's not time to go out and spend $15,000 on a new piece of equipment if you only have $10,000 allocated to operating expenses or equipment or whatever. We need to put it off. So in Katie's mind, she wanted to have offerings that were way more than her modest average price point of $10, $12, and $15. She wanted to sell something that was valued at $250 as a price point. And she has everything at her disposal on her farm. And in an exciting fashion, she actually came up with something that just blew everyone out of the water using what she had. So how many items would it take to sell $250 worth of product if your average price point is $12? It would take a lot of sales. So she came up with one item, one package that would be $250. And I think she even raised the price a little bit higher. But when she came to it, you know what it included? For $250, you got all of this amazing experience on Katie's farm, and you got to go home with a baby goat. Wow. How amazing and how incredible is that opportunity to have such an experience? And it was a resource that was underutilized on her farm when you're a goat farmer and you have lots of goats and lots of new babies. So what do you have and what can you do with it? How can you repackage what you have? How can you put a spin on it? How can you bundle it differently? How can you dial it up? Dial up the value, dial up the margin. Is it a change in experience that allows you to charge a higher price? Because remember, my friends, there's only 2 ways to increase profitability. Number 1, increase margin, and number 2, decrease expenses. So it's not one or the other. I always see it as being a combination of both. How can you increase margin? How can you increase value and increase the price? And then how can you decrease expenses as well? Katie didn't incur any additional expenses when she came up with this new $250 package value. Do and work with what you have. All right. And then I want you in this kind of final thought as we get towards wrapping up this episode is think about the last year or your last quarter and ask your best client or look at the best day from your last quarter and ask yourself, how could you turn more of that into more revenue? So who's your best client? How can you find more of those best clients? You know, what's funny is, let's be honest, the best clients are your easiest clients, and your easiest clients require the least effort, which makes them more profitable, right? So why are we not trying to continually up level our client base? Why aren't we trying to find more of those clients so that, you know, going from 50% of our clients being delights to 90% of our clients being to delights, or 95% of our clients being delights, instead of just accepting what comes to us. And on your best day ever, in terms of last quarter, in terms of total sales, what was that? What made up that day? Why did that day just go off the charts? Okay, you got that? Then how can you repeat that kind of day happening again? Can it happen weekly? Can it happen monthly? Does it need to happen quarterly? I know it can happen more than that one day it happened last year. Start taking control of your business. Start working on your business. Start forcing yourself to take the challenge, to grow and to change and to adapt and make things better. Because when you make things better, life does get easier, right? And it gets more profitable. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode. If you would like to connect with a Profit First professional accountant, bookkeeper, or coach, please go to profitfirstnation.com. And cheers to another profitable day, my entrepreneurial friends.